Good morning. Arrtx have very kindly sent me their Arrtx sketch markers. I'm really excited. Alcohol markers it's between them and watercolors for my favorite medium. So I'm very, very excited because I haven't tried Arrtx's alcohol markers before. No, I haven't. First thing is I'm really impressed with this handle. That's really cool for travel purposes. And then you've got this little slidey off thing here. It shows you all the different colors in there. Loads of grays. I love grays. This is amazing. They're alcohol based. You've got a chisel tip and a brush tip. 90 pieces as well. Very good color selection here. Oh, I'm so excited. Swatch sheets. And the markers. Okay. So this is what the marker looks like. It's got a triangular barrel. It feels quite nice in the hand actually. So that'd be interesting to try. One thing that I am noticing is that the pens are not organized in the same way that the swatch sheet is. So I'm gonna have to sort that out first for my sanity. God, okay, that took too long, but it's done now. I'm gonna jump straight into swatching these because I did not have much time again to record today. I'm too busy lately, this sucks. But I still want to make something nice with these, so let's get straight into swatching. I'll pre-warn now that this video is a little bit janky in places. I had very little time to record on that first day, and the rest of the clips are from evening drawing sessions. And if you're also in the UK, you know it has been raining non-stop. It's actually sunny right now, thank God, but prior to like Saturday, it's just been raining constantly, which makes it really hard to record and speak. So majority of this video is a voiceover an entire week later. You're just gonna have to forgive me for that one. I did what I could. Back to the actual topic of this video, the markers. The colors are insanely vibrant, super vibrant, a little bit intimidating for little old me, but really fun to work with. In terms of the color selection, I was pretty impressed. There's a nice range of like pastels and brights. The only thing that I was a little bit upset by is I feel like there's a lot of similar reds without like a nice dark one, and there is no orange nor really like a medium skin tone. There's like one medium brown, and I would like more than that, to be honest. But overall, pretty good selection. Oh my god, okay. So here are all the colors. Quick moment of appreciation for the marker itself. As I said before, it is triangular in shape. It's really nice to hold. One end is a chisel tip. It's really nice and firm. I really like this brush nib because the end is really firm for the fine details, but you can also use the entirety of the side for more coverage. My seat has also just been stolen as I stood up to show off that brush nib. Okay, here's where the jankiness starts. So this is the next day. I didn't record sketching out the initial rough sketch because I did not think I was going to go with this. And to be honest, this was a huge trust the process drawing. I was not happy with this at any point, and I'm still not sure I am. I don't think it's objectively bad. It doesn't agree with me. But I was really sick of drawing character art for my videos because really I don't draw that many characters. I have like an arsenal of maybe like 5 characters that I just draw over and over. And that's like L, Light, Misa, my own OCs, typically it's Silas. And like myself, it gets a little bit boring. Sometimes if I'm making too much character art. And I've done a lot of it lately, so I thought it was time to make something a little bit more weird and my true calling, which is just teeth and, spoiler alert, fish. So I haven't done something like this with alcohol markers in a long time. I think trying to capture something slightly more realistic and skin slightly more realistic, especially. It was not very familiar to me, and it was quite a lot. Like, there's some really good pale skin tones in here. You get a lot of variation. I think a few are too similar, but it does help a lot for when you're doing something with a bit more variation in skin tone in one drawing. Helped a lot with the shading of this piece to get more subtle shading in certain areas. I am also using my worst enemy marker paper in this drawing, and the teeth especially, like, this is horrifying. Those teeth are grey. They are just straight up grey, and I had to just roll with it. Like, you saw the skin tone at the very beginning, how grey that looks. If you're not familiar with the marker paper, it makes everything look grey when it's wet. And that is so scary. You don't know how the colors look together unless you're intelligent and you do a color test before you start drawing, which I am too dumb to do. I just reference the swatch sheet and hope that the colors look good together instead of what you should do, which is draw the colors you intended on using together to see if they're harmonic. Yet again, do as I say, not as I do, but I think the colors work pretty well in the end. I think the main thing, I bumped into a couple problems with the pink and red selection later, but I think I pulled it off. For the actual usage of the markers, the barrel is confirmed very comfortable to use for prolonged periods of time. I've been using these in the evenings pretty much all week to get this done, and I had no hand cramping from them. They were pretty comfy. I really do enjoy this brush nib because it is so handy for varying between really soaking an area with loads of colour and then doing fine little hatching details. I did use the chisel for a couple bits as well, and I was very impressed with that. For blending with these markers, I found them slightly different to alcohol markers that I'm used to, and that kind of like worked for and against me. I felt like sometimes they more layered on top of each other rather than soaking into the paper, and I did notice that with my sketchbook as well as the marker paper, so I don't think that's just a marker paper issue, which works really well to prevent feathering of the colours and keeping them in one place. It helps prevent bleeding, but it also makes blending a little bit weird. I noticed it a lot in the lips and also the tongue, but it just made it a little bit tricky to blend sometimes. You do have a colourless blender in there, so using a colourless blender to soak the paper a bit first and then using your colours on top helps a lot. And the technique I used for the teeth, where you use both colours together really quickly while they're still soaking wet, that helps too if you've got quite similar colours. But I found it slightly, I didn't feel like the colours lifted as much as alcohol markers usually do, which I think is both a good thing and a tricky thing when you're used to them doing that like I am. You can see here that I'm soaking the tongue with the colourless blender and then going in with my colours fairly quickly, just trying to blend out from sort of light to dark. And then after I've put in my sort of boldest colour, I go back in with those paler ones and some colours that are like more peachy, more pink, doing a bit of hatching there and then blending that out. So there's a bunch of different techniques you can use to blend these markers. I kind of alternated between a few different ones that I like to use for this piece, but it's really hard to tell what it looks like until the whole piece is done because of the marker paper making everything look grey and just the way I had to layer certain things. You can see me going back again. Just trying to guess how it's going to dry and get as much done before it dries as possible, so I've still got some wiggle room with the blending. I don't know if Arrtx maybe have some marker paper of their own that would have been a better choice for this. I don't really, because I don't like marker paper, I don't know how to judge marker paper. In some ways I think this one's pretty good and definitely less offensive than other marker papers I've used. It's my favourite one that I've used so far, but it's still really tricky for me. So I don't know, maybe you're like a massive marker paper fan, it's your favourite paper. Recommend some that you think are really good for me please in the comments. Because maybe I've just always had bad ones, but I think this one's good. This one's the Ohuhu one. I still don't like the fact it's marker paper, but if I'm going to use markers, I've been using this paper unless I've been working straight in my sketchbook, which says a lot seeing as usually whatever marker paper I get ends up being just used as scrap paper to test colours on. I have a really good talent for choosing to draw something that requires colours that aren't in the set that I'm trying out. It's apparently one of my hobbies at this point. But I do think it kind of pays off because it shows what you can achieve without having the perfect colors. But my god, I need to stop stressing myself out. So this palette didn't really have any of the pinks and red tones that I would usually use for a mouth. I had to make things a lot more vibrant and get a bit more creative with blending out the colors, because there wasn't really an in-between pink for me between this one, which I think was rose pink, and then the pastel pinks. I would have liked something in between, and then also something maybe a bit more muted than the reds for a dark pink. But I think I made it work, which, you know, shows that you don't need to have every single color in a color palette in order for it to be a good one. It was a really fun challenge to try and do this, and it always is when I'm trying just one brand's palette. I think it paid off. You can kind of see me start to do some of the more fine details in a minute, and these markers were absolutely incredible for that. This brush nib is great. I don't think I've ever had so much success doing a form of line art with markers as I have with these ones, which was really cool because normally I have to go back in with like a pen or some colored pencils to line everything, and I did not feel the need to do that with these ones. They stayed put where they should be. The brush nib was nice and firm, so I could easily do the little lines. I'm also trying a different blending technique here of just putting down the color and then really quickly blending it out with the colorless blender, and that worked pretty well. It didn't stain the colorless blender too much either, just some scribbling on a blank sheet of paper afterwards helped to clean it up. So that's a really good technique. This whole drawing was such a trust the process. I really did think I was gonna have to scrap all of this footage and start something new this entire time, and I do another drawing shortly, but I was just so relieved to have pulled this off to a level that I was happy to stick it in my sketchbook. I'm kind of getting close to finishing it up now. I'm just recognizing where I've maybe lost a bit of depth in certain areas, or things aren't as saturated as I wanted them to be. I wanted the teeth to be quite yellow, so I go back in with a more golden color just to fix that a bit. Also, something was really bugging me this entire drawing process, and I couldn't work out what it was. It's how straight the teeth are. I almost exclusively draw really wonky, crooked teeth unless I'm drawing Silas, but Silas's teeth are really white, so I can't even make the excuse that this is Silas. This is just not the kind of teeth that I normally draw. I'm just finishing up with some texture with a colored pencil. I love using pink color pencil to finish off my drawings, especially alcohol markers. I just think it blends in so nicely. And this was the moment where I realized I in fact did not despise this drawing with every fiber of my being. It just needed white highlights. The ominous dry mouth staring back at me for the last few hours was finally no longer upsetting me. Lots of sparkles, lots of stars. I'm obsessed with doing stars for highlights. I think I'm overdoing it now, but you can never have too many stars. And I think 90% of you will agree with that. Artists and stars is a very romantic and long-standing relationship. I just think they look really cute, and I'm bored of just doing little circle highlights or trying to make them realistic. I think it just makes everything look really stylized and really fun. But here are the finished teeth, or the finished mouth, I guess. I think I like it now. I didn't like it at the time, but here are some of the details. I knew at this point the drawing wasn't finished, but I was really undecided on what I wanted to do with it. My initial thought was to do a cutesy kind of Animal Crossing looking apple and putting that on the drawing, along with, I doodled a few different food options, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to litter them around the drawing or just have one on the tongue. But here's the apple, and my cat. She's been settling in really well. She's sat at my desk currently just purring at me, but she has definitely settled into her role as my new assistant and is interrupting all of my drawing sessions, as she should be. She did completely destroy my drawer of all of my colourful paper and post-it notes the other day, but she's very cute, so we're letting her off for that little accident. And now back to drawing. I wasn't really happy with how this apple came out. The blending techniques went a little bit smoother. I kind of had a bit more of a grip on how to do them at this point, but this just looked odd to me and I didn't love it. And then I did a cheeseburger and I didn't love that either. So then I thought, okay, well maybe the apple was okay. No, the apple was not okay, and I was not okay. I left it there for a while, but I doodled so many things trying to work it out, and I just do something very predictable in the end. But moving on to the other drawing, I decided to do this one straight in my sketchbook just to see how the markers behaved on this paper, which, disclaimer, is very much not designed for use with alcohol markers. I wanted to draw a fish because I really enjoy drawing fish, as you may have noticed a few times. Just occasionally I draw fish, and the vibrancy of these markers worked really well for this. I had a really fun time laying down more saturated versions of all the little colours that I could see in the fish. That was a lot of fun, and I think the effect at the end is really cool. With this being paper that can't handle markers very well, all the colours feather and bleed quite a lot, which is really annoying for small details but makes it kind of fun for stuff like this. Everything just gets this really cool blurry effect, which I really enjoy when you can control it. I think this is my favourite thing about drawing fish. There's just so much colour variation in them, and you get to test out so many different colours in one small space. But then my favourite way to paint a sardine is just to use like a muted blue, a yellow and a red, and just layer up those bit by bit with watercolors. So even like with a limited palette you can make a really cool fish. But it does work really well for sets like these where you have tons of different colors and you can just layer a ton of them onto one thing and it looks really cool. After this piece I only have 3.5 spreads left until I have finished this sketchbook completely, and I am so excited to do a tour on this one. It is definitely being legally crowned the fish sketchbook because the amount of fish is impressive. I have a small aquarium in this book. And it's also the quickest I've ever finished a sketchbook, which I'm really proud of because I feel like all the pages are done to a really nice standard. There's definitely pages in there that I don't like so much, but there's nothing I hate. And there's a lot that I love, so I'm really excited to go over this one. It's definitely my favourite one that I've done so far, and I really hope you all like it. You've liked all the stuff that I've shared so far, and I have shared most of it, so I hope you guys enjoy seeing the full thing all together. Once again, I'm drawing something that I don't have the colours for. I really wanted to draw salmon, but there isn't an orange in this set, so I had to do kind of like a peachy skin tones and pinks, and then use the closest thing, which was like a vermilion red, to try and add a bit more saturation. Oh no, it's raining. But yeah, I don't think it looks too bad in the end. I think I made it work fairly well, but a salmon was not the correct choice of what to put on this spread. With this color palette, it's fine, it's whatever. I wanted to do a very food-based spread here. You know, you got the mouth wide open, ready to eat, and then you got the fish who's been caught, and the salmon and the sushi. Fish is not having a great time, but the mouth is. 50% satisfaction rate is not bad at all, I'd say. Here I just filled in the background with this reddish marker, and I was really impressed with how even and flat this laid down. Normally I have to deal with a lot of streaks when I do things like this, but it was really minimal with this marker, which was I was very happy with that. Overall, I am very impressed with these markers and definitely will be using them consistently. Arrtx are actually having a big sale on their Amazon at the minute, so I'll include all of the links in the description if you would like to check these markers out or some of Arrtx's other products. I highly recommend their alcohol markers now, which I've gotten really well with, and I've used quite a few different versions of their acrylic markers now and have never been disappointed. So I really recommend checking them out on Amazon if you'd like to get a good sale, or looking at their official website. I'm really grateful to Arrtx for the opportunity to try out these markers and other supplies that they've let me test. I've always bought Arrtx markers for myself, so getting to try the new products is really cool. I strongly recommend this brand. Please go check them out if you haven't already. Once again, the links are in the description to check out their products. But thank you so much for watching this video and for drawing along with me. I hope you enjoyed me making something slightly weirder and a bit less cutesy, because I love doing this stuff. Have a wonderful day / night / whatever, and I'll see you soon with a new video. Thank you, bye!